Elon Musk has just taken a step that is both bold and deeply unsettling. He publicly tied Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, surfacing connections that the Justice Department never fully examined. This isn't a casual remark. It's a billionaire with government contracts releasing material that should have triggered federal scrutiny long ago. Prosecutors looking at this see witness accounts, corroborated timelines, and a pattern of concealment. And the DOJ's silence speaks volumes. Here's the reality. Musk shared photos, flight records, and overlapping timelines linking Trump to Epstein during periods that federal investigators never touched. This evidence predates Epstein's 2019 indictment, his death, and the closure of the Southern District of New York's inquiry into co-conspirators. For prosecutors, the glaring question is simple. Why wasn't this pursued? SDNY had subpoena power, cooperating witnesses, and financial records. Yet certain names never appeared in indictments. Consider the timeline. Epstein dies in August 2019. The probe into his associates continues. Ghislaine Maxwell is charged in July 2020. By then, Trump is president, controlling the DOJ and appointing the attorney general. Musk's disclosures, intentional or not, create a public record prosecutors cannot ignore. When a credible figure with access to sensitive records makes specific claims about a sitting president's ties to a trafficking conspiracy, that's not commentary, it's evidence. And evidence doesn't vanish because an investigation stalls. Prosecutors would weigh three things. Credibility. Musk isn't anonymous. He runs companies with security clearances. Corroboration. Flight logs and photos can be authenticated. And relevance. Continued association with Epstein, despite knowledge of his crimes, suggests awareness of guilt. Musk has effectively laid out a prosecutorial roadmap. The obstacle? Trump is president again, reshaping the DOJ with loyalists. The issue isn't whether the evidence matters. It's whether anyone in power will act on it. The Epstein saga was never just about one man. It was about a network of powerful figures who enabled or concealed a trafficking operation. The government repeatedly chose not to expose the full system. In 2008, Epstein secured a lenient deal in Florida, orchestrated by Alexander Acosta, later Trump's labor secretary. In 2019, SDNY had a strong case, but Epstein's death slowed momentum. Maxwell was convicted in 2021, yet the client list stayed sealed. Musk's revelations forced the question, who decided to narrow the scope of that investigation? Prosecutors know how these cases work. You flip witnesses, grant immunity to smaller players, and climb the ladder. But if those at the top control the justice system, the process collapses. That's not speculation, it's institutional reality. If prosecutors were independent, here's the roadmap. Step 1, verify flight logs against FAA and private aviation records. Step 2, interview pilots, staff, and witnesses present during the relevant periods. Under federal trafficking law, benefiting from or participating in such a venture is enough for liability. Step 3, examine financial ties, payments, investments, or loans that explain the relationship. Building a conspiracy case requires proving knowledge and participation. Musk's disclosures provide context and timelines. Charges aren't guaranteed. Statutes of limitation may block older offenses. But obstruction, lying to investigators, or concealing evidence remain chargeable today. History shows precedent. In the 1990s, prosecutors finally broke through organized crime by securing witnesses. In the 2000s, Enron proved powerful executives could be held accountable when evidence and political will aligned. In both cases, what mattered wasn't just the evidence, it was whether the system had the courage to act. The real issue isn't the evidence itself, it's whether prosecutors are free to act on it. Right now, that independence doesn't exist. Musk's disclosure, whether deliberate or not, has exposed a structural flaw in our system. When the person under scrutiny controls the very institutions meant to hold them accountable, the rule of law collapses. Think about the implications. If a sitting president can be credibly linked to a federal trafficking conspiracy and the Justice Department refuses to act, what does that say about equal justice? If prosecutors are too compromised or intimidated to pursue evidence, what does that say about institutional integrity? From a legal standpoint, this is the nightmare scenario. Credible allegations, a witness making public claims, a framework for investigation, and yet the accused controls the investigators. That's not democracy. That's power cloaked in legality. Here's what comes next. Musk's statements will either be ignored, signaling a broken system, or aggressively attacked, which often signals their validity. Watch the White House response. If they dismiss the claims, why not release records or allow independent review? If they go after Musk personally, that's a classic tactic. Attack the witness when you can't disprove the evidence. And if they remain silent, that silence itself becomes damning. In courtrooms, silence in the face of specific allegations is often treated as an admission. The long-term consequence is dangerous. We risk setting a precedent that presidents are effectively above investigation. Not above the law in theory, we'll still talk about accountability, but above the law in practice. Once that precedent is established, it's nearly impossible to undo. Here's the bottom line. Musk has placed a case in prosecutors' hands. The evidence is public. The statutes exist. The only question is whether the system still functions when power is implicated. Having worked inside the Justice Department, I've seen the difference between independent prosecutors and compromised ones. Right now, we're witnessing the latter. Pay close attention. Watch who investigates and who turns away. Because the rule of law isn't an abstract concept. It's the dividing line between a republic and a kingdom. Stay vigilant. Truth and accountability depend on it.